Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar today. Awesome, I reckon let's jump into it, and then anyone else can come on board who needs to. To share my screen. Just gonna go through a couple slides and then we'll dive into the product itself. So going to slideshow. So yeah, um, what is today, what we're doing, we're recording this session, and we'll send a link afterwards. But I said, like, any kind of questions, drop us a line. Going to be going over an overview of Socket and what it does, like why we built it. Main part of it will be a demo, just walking through kind of the main product, what it does, how to use it, and then touching on a few of our newer things in our AI proposal generator, and our MCP. Um, I'm Simon, part of the Socket team. I'm an accountant by background, but have been kind of working in software for a while now. To kind of help out with both like product direction and strategy, as well as kind of our go-to-market talking to customers. So that's kind of what I do. Um, so, what is Socket and where does it excel? So I think a lot of people see Socket as kind of like how would you describe it in a simple word, like what it does the proposals and engagement letters. I think that is a small part of what Socket does, but it is kind of like the core. Um, but what we are doing and trying to do is kind of do everything from your lead generation. So being able to capture leads, maintain leads from a marketing funnel point of view, then into the proposal creation of that, looking into your CRM if you have a CRM, then like the generation of engagement letters, the we've got some kind of out of the box good engagement letters that people can use. There's then some workflow automation, so being able to pass that information to practice management systems or kind of do various other jobs. We can then handle the billing aspect, so being able to make sure that there's a link between the proposal and the invoice. A lot of people when we speak to us still kind of got a proposal in one place, got the invoice somewhere else, and those two things don't talk to each other, which means any change to either of those mean that the two systems aren't in sync. So we try to make sure those things are in sync to make that easy for you. We then look at monitoring prices, so being able to look at changes in pricing, look at changes in drivers if you're using drivers for your pricing, so that you can update and keep an eye on all your pricing in bulk across your whole practice. And then kind of the last thing in there is tax scout, which is a new tool that we got. What it does is looks into HMRC and pulls back data from your agent portal with your self-assessment, your VAT, your PAYE, and your corporation tax information, and that then flows into other parts of Socket. So that is our wheel of Socket, and kind of like what we're doing and why we're doing it. So I think to the why, like, well, where does Socket come from? Socket comes from people who are running accounting firms, like frustrated at the kind of how good some of these tools out there are doing these basic things, but also how hard it was to stitch together data within the ecosystem. So we didn't see a space in the market that had like a good tool that helped you create beautiful looking proposals that would generate more revenue, but also how it fitted nicely into the ecosystem. And also like being independent to like other large providers and being agnostic to kind of other things to be able to slot into like what you want to use, whether that is a different practice management system or a different accounting software. Um, and also, I think John, kind of one of the founders of Socket, also wanted to try and kind of get pricing right. Kind of saw from a lot of conversations over the last 15 years in running his practice and speaking to other practice owners, that it was quite hard to be profitable. So how do we kind of build the right methodologies and frameworks to make it easy to price in the right way to ensure that you're getting paid for the work that you do, and profitability is built in from day one, so there isn't a constant chasing your tail. So that is Socket and why we built it. So I think first, before we jump into the live demo, and is Tax Scout. I think it's interesting, Tax Scouts. So what does this do? And I'll show you a video in a minute. It basically allows you to bring in all of your client data from HMRC agent portal. So what is it trying to solve? I think it's very onerous having to log in to see its information. There's many clicks. There's no consistent dashboard. And I think people may find that sometimes clients believe that it's like on the accountant bookkeeper to tell them that they need to pay a filing fee or whatever it might be, even if it's not. And so what it does is allows you to kind of see that information, be proactive, so like tell someone there's a payment coming up, but also to be able to see kind of where there might be issues where people are paying interest and penalties, whatever it might be, to better inform your clients. Right. So I think what I will now do is dive into the product. This is Socket. So I've talked through the wheel already. But if I start I start with the proposals and leads. So if you come into Socket, what you're going to see is you're going to see kind of a client list in here. But this is kind of kind of the CRM aspect of it, which you can import data, and the client screen kind of is like the core of all your information. So in here you can see who someone is. Let me just look at a different one that's got a company's house connection. So you can see who someone is, who the contacts are. If it's connected up to company's house, you will see information from company's house. You can see the proposals, you can see the services you're offering, you can see the invoicing. So basically, kind of like a CRMS tool in here. Um, Depending on like what kind of tools you're using, if you're using like Xama from an AML point of view, for instance, you'll be able to see you'll be able to see information about the person, the AML information within there, and like being able to trigger AML straight from here. So at the moment, from an AML point of view, we just integrate with Xama, but we are looking at kind of other tools as well to be able to integrate with. So diving into proposals. So I suppose what sets us apart to some extent from other tools out there is like being able to create what we think is a nice proposals for your clients. So let's say I'm going to do a new proposal for a new client. Um, I am able to, oh, there's a different one. You can tell that I've used that. Let's go say in the boost today, shall we? Um, so I can select the client. I can kind of easily create that. And the whole socket is built on like a pricing menu methodology. So within here, I've got my proposal. We've got tools such as like multiple signatories, and then we have our engagement letters embedded within Socket itself. So this person's organization. We have the ability to be able to charge alignment fees paid depending on year end, so you can change when the alignment fees are. Then going to go into like kind of main pricing menu. So we can show you how this is set up. If you've got a system already that you've got a pricing menu, this is quite straightforward to import into Socket. Or if you're new to pricing menus, again, it's something that we can kind of work through. But for this example client here, I've got a driver-based menu. So for instance, I'm doing charges based on number of sales invoices. So I can choose number of sales invoices, and that's going to spit out a cost. I'm able to change my frequency of billing. So I've got lots of different options depending on the work that I'm doing that I can change for the billing. And also I'm able to add some other things. But I'm just going to go through and choose a couple of things for this client. They mentioned they wanted sales and they mentioned they definitely wanted bills. But the cool thing about this is I can now add another option. So let's say my discovery call, they said that they wanted this, that this is like the basic package, but actually they were thinking about having payroll as well. What this is going to do is going to create two things, like a basic proposal and a medium proposal. So in this medium proposal, I'm going to add in payroll for 5 employees on a monthly basis. And I'm also going to add in bank rec. So again, all of these kind of drivers I'm doing here can be configured in the background. And then as a stretch, they said they might want me to do management accounts and year-end accounts, let's say. So I'm just going to create a third option, which was like best. And I'm going to choose a medium as the copy. So it's creating the best. And I'm going to add in management accounts on my gold package. And I'm going to add in accounts. Change that to Actually, probably. Let's just change it to quarterly so that you can see something in here. Um, cool. Um, so now I've got my kind of three different packages. I can recommend one of these, and I'm also going to add in an option for them to do tax returns. So I'm just going to add this option in, which is going to be selected extra. So I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. So all I've done there is just kind of create free kind of proposals based on the conversation that I might have had with that person. All this you can do like as templates. So if there are standard kind of pricing menus that you want to, you can create this from scratch. You can have the templates so it's created automatically, or you can kind of create from scratch. If you're using tools like Precision or Xenon, you can bring in data into here. So like if you want to price per transaction volumes, it will bring in the value so you can see the value in here as well. At any point in this proposal creation process, I can click on the client preview, and this is going to tell me what the client can see. So in this example here, this is the information. All this can be edited to whatever it might be, but you can see there'd be a page that's about us. So this is a PDF about our firm that I've added and why we're great. I then move into the kind of the bot proposal. So you kind of saw when I was creating it, I created three options. So here you can see what the client would be presented with, and you can see that I've recommended the best option. We generally find if you have more than one option, people land a higher value, and there's less like toing and froing on emails about can you add this, can you remove this, because they can kind of do it as is experience. The way that they receive the proposal is via an email, and then they open a link in the email, and it opens this as like magic link in here, so they can view it, and all that's tracked, so you can see kind of how they've seen it, how they opened it, and what they've done. Let's say they chose this option here. It then gives you a breakdown of what the services are, what they do, and the kind of the driver it was based on. Again, all this is editable, so you can add and remove detail here if you want to, depending on the person. You then saw that added an extra in. So the extra in this example here was a tax return. So you can add this in and they can add or remove this to a proposal depending on what they want to do. So that kind of gives you the option to have, sorry, it gives you the option to have three different options in a proposal, up to three different options in a proposal, and also to have extras on each of those options. They then see the fees. They can set up direct debit. So we integrate with Adfin and go cardless. So you can set up within here, and then they will go through the signing phase. This is a preview, so I can't see this. But again, this is the signing. And this is the engagement letter. So the engagement letter is like embedded within the proposal process, and it attaches to the end of it. And it's the schedule of services is dependent on what that person's chosen. So this is generated depending on what they've chosen. At any point they can get a PDF version of this if they want to. We kind of think the experience is better and it's kind of excuse me, this wizard style format. Um, so if they went through that, they can click accept, and that's kind of the proposal generation process. Um, cool. So once someone has done a proposal, you can send it to them, and they signed it. As I said, you can kind of look at the progress of that proposal. So once it's been sent, you can see what the services are for that, and you can also see what happened. So you can see it was sent, whether it was improved internally or whether someone else approved it. Let's say that you kind of sent the original proposal and you want to make an adjustment a little bit down the line. In any proposal, you can make an adjustment. We have two like modes for adjustment. One is a minor renewal and one is a full renewal. So the minor renewal doesn't need a re-signing. It basically opens up a new proposal, and I can just choose what I want to change. So let's say their bills increased. This went from 30 to 50. I can choose that. I can go next. And if I look at what the client will see, is they will then see they'll get an email saying these things have changed. This is your information. They'll go into here and they'll see what's happened. So the bills have changed from 34 to 54, and this is the change to that, and this is what the change in what's happened. So a nice way to be able to increase prices depending on something's happened without having to go through the whole kind of re-signing process. Let's go back to this one here. Again, within here you can edit lots of information here. All the kind of the information they're getting or the emails they're getting is all customizable. And if I actually want to send it, I would go for this phrase and I can either send via email or I can share it via link within here. So that's kind of the proposal creation process, the pricing menu. I'll just quickly show you the pricing menu. So the pricing menu is in our settings, in services and pricing, and within here, this is kind of like what makes up the pricing menu. It can look a little bit intimidating to start with, but kind of once you get kind of used to it, hopefully is a bit is more digestible. But basically, each of these is the kind of the items you would have seen in that pricing menu, and these are the drivers in here. So this driver here is the number of invoices, and this is the kind of the pricing that depends on the number of invoices. As I said, if you use a tool before that has this kind of thing, we can import this data. If you're new to pricing menus, we have some templates that we can kind of work with you to make the most out of them. Then engagement letters. So I kind of touched on that already. So we have a like a module called Engage, which is a written by like a compliance expert, Ian Walters, and basically they're ready for you to use, but they are best in class engagement letters that kind of come out of the box that have been approved by him and written by him. And then below that there are service schedules, which again come out of the box. So if I went to Engage here, I've got a list of all these service schedules. So all you need to do is add those to the system. If you've already got your own documents or we want to use your own documents, again, you can do that. You can just create a new document and you can create a new one from scratch and make a document. So that covers kind of proposals and engagement letters. You can send engagement letters on their own if you want to. So then I think what would be good to kind of go through is then like the billing aspect of it. So once you've kind of got your proposals in the system and working, a lot of people we work with are kind of either using Xero or QBO or other systems, and they might be using recurring invoices in those systems. What we think works well is we have a billing plan. So what's going to happen every month for the recurring values of your invoices is they go in here and create a billing plan. And this billing plan, you can see what it's made of. It's got an invoice, it shows what it is. And then every month you can then post this into the system. There's various automations you can do on here. But the benefit of this is that any new client that you create also will come into here. And then any changes that you make to an invoice will automatically flow into the next period. So it kind of means that you don't have to go updating other sources of truth if you do update data proposal. So you can see here that Manchester City Limited has gone from 1,145 to 1,157. So there's been a £12 change. And I can go and I can look at what that change has been. So if I go into here, it's going to tell me what it was. If I wanted to go back to the April one, I can go in there and see what the information is. So everything from proposals flows through into there. Just going to touch on two kind of pricing changes. So a common kind of update pricing change that we get is like someone's increased, let's say a software vendor has increased some pricing, and I've got one here, zero price update. But let's say someone changed that. What I can do is I can just go into a pricing menu. I'm just going to delete this one. So I can go into a pricing menu and I'm going to find what's changed. So I'm going to go into here and I'm going to find software and I'm going to go look at Xero and I'm going to look at the packages. So let's say these have changed in price. It's gone from £30 to £35, 60 to 65, let's say. If I update this and then publish it, what's it going to do? It's going to look at everyone who's got a proposal with those pricing bits on it. Then if I go to my proposals, if I go to a bulk adjustment, it will then find all the proposals where there's been that changed. And it allows me to then make an adjustment on that basis. So I can draft an adjustment. I can look at once it's generated, I can look at those what was changed and why they've changed. This one here was due to other things, I think, but you can imagine what's happened, and then I can send those in bulk. So I can then send in bulk. So this doesn't matter, but you can send that information in bulk and send that to customers. So like a really nice way of being able to bulk change pricing that's kind of outside your control. And the second thing around the kind of bulk pricing change would also be the like inflationary increase, let's say. So let's say you come around to a certain point in time in the year and you want to increase your pricing by 4%. If I do that, what it's going to do is look at my pricing menu, look at all my prices and suggest like the new price. I can edit any of these. I can say I want to include this, I don't want to include this, whatever it might be. I can save that as a draft. I can publish it again and I can go through that same process. So once you have everyone on this standardized pricing, it can be really valuable to be able to do bulk actions and change things. So yeah, so we've gone through proposals, we've gone through engagement letters to some extent, look what the proposal look like, how it works, how you send it. We've also gone through billing as well as like the bulk management of information. Um, I just want to touch on kind of like different systems within Socket. So once you kind of start using Socket, you might want to integrate different things. If you go into your client page, go into your links, you can then see how all this information is stitched together. So it kind of is a landing space to be able to like link all these things to a different tooling that you've got. Um, so leads is kind of like the earlier phase in it. So this is an add-on to Socket. So what is this trying to do? Kind of like a lightweight HubSpot, allows you to create leads from conversations. This has like an API, or we use Zapier. So let's say you've got some kind of tool where you generate leads for, you can come in and you can create like a lead within the system. It then allows you to capture activity against those leads, whether that's meetings, whether that's notes, whatever it might be. And then you can generate a proposal straight from here. So let's say I just spoke to Chelsea and I want to create a proposal. It's then going to kind of kick it off and start the proposal and start that process. So a nice way to kind of manage pipeline and with leads within it. It kind of that covers leads. There's various settings and ways you can manage the leads. Um, then Tax Scout we touched on already at the beginning, but just a bit more of a demo of it. So what you need to do for this is you need to hook in your HMRC gateway. You can have multiple gateways. We also handle the 2FA, which has some information in our help docs about how to do that. Then it's going to pull in some data. And this example here, this is my dashboard, so it shows you the number of clients I've got. It shows what they owe to HMRC, and it shows that any of them have got interest and penalties. So yeah, this has got my deadlines, it's got my clients and the attention, it's got my interest and penalties. And I can dive into each of these pages. So like this is my VAT dashboard, and I can see what's happening across my balances. So I can see everyone who's got a VAT balance, like when they last filed, what they filed, whatever it might be. So if I dive into one of these clients, you can then go into it and you can see all of the data for this individual. Same again for like self-assessments. You can see all your self-assessment clients. You can drill into it. You can see their information and you can see all their history. This one goes back to 1997, so lots of history. And then this one here is your tax balances. So again, a really useful view. You can see basically anyone who has a tax balance outstanding, which you can go through. You might want to kind of send some emails or notifications to them about a tax balance outstanding. So what's next here? Like being able to send emails to people straight from Socket. So let's say you want to send a reminder to someone, we're going to bring that in here. And we're also looking at bringing in other taxes such as CIS and MTT for IT. Because at the moment this is just self-assessment. So that's Tax Scout. Work management is kind of around the let's say you do one-off jobs for people and you want to invoice. We've got in our billing page is all about the recurring invoices. Our work management is handling those one-off jobs. So let's say I had a personal tax return for someone for Barney Rebel here, which I want to bill when I completed it. So it doesn't go into my normal recurring bill. But if I completed it, I can mark the job as complete, and then it'll mark it as complete and publish that invoice through to the system. Monitor is like another add-on that we've got. So what does Monitor do? Monitor allows you to kind of view your data in bulk to kind of see any price changes. So what you can do is you can add in data. So let's say you have a spreadsheet that has a list of bank transactions, sales invoices, and whatever it might be, or you can hook up things like Precision or Xenon to the client metrics. What it will do is it will upload that data and go into the system, and it will compare it against your proposal. So in this example here, I've got take that, who are undercharged, and they're undercharged because their current price was £0 and their new price is £47. So I should increase their bill, and here I can adjust the price and I could create a proposal straight away from it. In this example here, for various autos, again, there's a difference in their kind of zero subscription. I've got a different one here. These are all about zero subscription prices, but you could also add in things about like changes in transaction volumes or whatever it might be within the monitor space. Lastly, surveys. Surveys is kind of a way to be able to send CSAT surveys to people. So let's say you wanted to be able to send a survey to see how you're doing. Again, there's the ability to do that from Socket. I think that is like a general overview of the app. I'm just going to go back into here, but please do kind of ask any questions, any clarifications on any of that. Hopefully I haven't lost you. Um, so one thing I didn't show, you might have seen it in the icons is the kind of the proposal generation. It's still like in beta, but I'm just going to show a video here of what it would do. So you can generate a proposal. It's then going to create like you're going to get the screen here where you can choose do you want to create a prospect, existing client, or let I decide. Let's say you've got some call transcripts that you might use. You can paste information here, and it's going to give you some information with a call transcript. This is then going to go away and draft a proposal. So I know some people in the industry are kind of using Vinyl. There's tools like Granola or things similar to that. So you can kind of use that. Um, this will then create the proposal for you. It will allow you to put some information, and it'll go into that proposal generation stage. So this is basically inputting the client data. It's giving you some information about their pain points. So as well as kind of actually creating the proposal itself, it's also giving you some information like that the current accountant only handles compliance. This is what they're looking for. So a really like nice way to store information about what the client expects, and which we can get from the transcript or from notes from the client. Um, Gives you some information, and then they'll go away and generate the proposal for you. Um, so we're quite excited about this. It should hopefully make it a lot easier to create proposals for people with a lot more detail. If people are using kind of transcript tools and things are similar to that. Um, cool. One second. Got a question, but I can't see it. It's a question from Jenny asking, can we, one second. Can we create proposals for work charged on an hourly rate basis and invoice monthly? Yeah, so you can charge on hourly rate within the proposal itself. Let me just exit this quickly before I show you that stuff again. Um, so in the proposal, you can charge on an hourly rate. If I just quickly go back to a proposal, um, you can have the driver set up that it's using hourly rate. So for example, here I've got credit control. And I put in the number of the credit control, like under like 12 hours a month, whatever it might be, and I can change that. This will then just set up the billing that it bills this amount of money. If you need it so like it's actually you charge whatever your hours that you're doing, like on a monthly basis. There are ways to do that in Socket, but it's probably best to have like a retainer amount in here and then do minor adjustments depending on what the value is. But if it's something that we can look at, Jennifer, we can look at how best to structure that in your system. But there is a mechanism of doing it. Just kind of depends on the different ways you want to look at it. Um, Cool. So that's the AI proposal generator. And then for those of you who might be interested in MCPs, so model context protocols, which is kind of the new APIs, which allows you to hook in things like Claude and ChatGPT. We are building that out at the moment as well. So you can do things like showing all your proposals, all that what I showed you with the AI proposal generator. You can do that and many other things. So that's coming soon. How much does it cost? So Socket's modular. It has pricing based on kind of um, uh, the number of clients. So you can have unlimited proposals, unlimited renewals. It starts at 20 clients, then it goes up to 100, then up to 500, then up to 1,500. And this is kind of the headline price at the top. And then the different modules, depending on what I talked about, we talked through the engagement essence module, we talked through leads, we talked through tax calc, will be kind of pricing on top of that. You can't just buy like a module, you have to buy the core and then the module as well. And we offer kind of free onboarding to kind of get your data from another system into our system and kind of teach you like what's going on within the system. So if what you've seen today is interesting to you, what I recommend is kind of either go to a website and book a call, usocket.com, go and book a call with us, or go and start a trial and get yourself started. And again, then you can book a call. And for those who kind of start a trial or engage within May, we're offering a special 50% off discount for 3 months and on the lower packages. And if you're on the higher packages, it's 50% for 6 months. I had a question from Cass about how do you book a call. The best way to book a call is to just, yeah, let's say go to usocket.com, usocket.com, click book a call, and then go into here and choose a time that works for you. So yeah, if you do that, if not, Cass, I can reach out afterwards just to kind of find a time as well. Yeah, thanks, Gina. Have a great day too.